Alright, welcome to another episode of Can You Connect? And this is Mr. Walk That Walk. And today's episode, we're going to be going over dating somebody with post-traumatic stress disorder. And we're going to be going over different people's experiences with this disorder. So our first person is going to be a Caucasian male who is a veteran. So he was in the military and he was, going through certain things. Once he got back home, to the point where he had a hard time with being at peace, sleeping, because he felt so paranoid when he got back home, to the point where he didn't sleep at night at all because he was checking the doors, boom, boom, boom. I gotta make sure everything's locked. I gotta make sure we're good. I gotta make sure nothing happens. So he's up all night making sure nothing happens until the sun comes up. Even when he would go out, he would have a hard time going out with his family because he was worried about something happening during that moment. And he will only go out if there was like a table where he could see all the exits, where people are coming in, where people are leaving, where they could leave if something happens. So all these things was making him a bit paranoid, even when he's out with his spouse, even when he's out with his family. And, due to him going through these things, he had a hard time with like loud noises, being in loud crowds. So he didn't want to have a place in a city. He wanted to have a place like in a country to where it's quiet and, it could bring him some type of peace. However, those things were still hard because he was dealing with survivor's guilt, because he went through a situation to where he was guarding at an event and a sniper came and shot his people who, the people in the military, there's like a brotherhood, they're like family. So when people are getting, those people who were shot in front of him, that kind of took him aback, because now he's struggling due to them getting shot, but not him. Due to somebody losing their life, but he didn't lose his life. So now there's a guilt to where he's feeling real bad, like what he could have done differently, how he could have went over the situation. And the sniper videotaped that situation, him shooting his military brothers, and they got the footage. And then once he got it, he was going over and over and over the footage. He was putting himself back in that traumatic situation. About things he could do, what he could do. But with therapy and them telling him that he did what he could in that moment. And, that kind of helped him, because he was going through those cycles of all that anguish of why him, why not him being shot, to where he's feeling like he shouldn't be living, to where he had thoughts about taking his life. He was drinking. He was going through the nine. He was going through a lot of stuff. And he mentioned that his family coming to support him, help, coming to show up for him, during his hard times, that got him through it, that made him push through. And his mom telling him, that she wanted her son back. So those family giving him those pushes to heal, and those things he mentioned helped him work through those things. Being able to have that support. Because he had times where he was going to take his life. So having that support, having people who have your back, that's everything. And our next person is going to be a African American male from Baltimore. And he went through jail. So he went to prison, and he went through different hardships to where it kind of desensitized him to a lot of things. Because at a certain point when he was growing up as a child, he was dealing with, his uncle who would be, he'll come down to check on him and he'll be out, with a needle in his hand. So rather than him panicking, he just went to get his grandmother, and he didn't panic because he was already prepared for that, because his grandmother's was, his grandmother told him about it and told him, if this happens, this is what you do. You come get me. So in turn, this put him in situations where he didn't really panic that much when he got older as well. He just went through situations, bottling all these things and he may have been a bit worried about his uncle, because seeing him like that was a bit hard for him, to the point where when he got older, he would often go out his way to take his uncle's money so he's not overdosing, or so he's not buying drugs, just trying to do his best to keep his uncle away from those things. And that pushed him away from doing like hard drugs like heroin or cocaine. However, he had other uncles that were living, let's say, a high life to an extent to where they had respect, and they would have the women, nice cars, maybe have a place of their own, but they were selling drugs, so they were also doing things that wasn't the best as well, but those were his role models. So, and some of them went to jail, so those things became normal for him, and then he was selling drugs, and then he got caught up in situations where he had to go to jail and go through those experiences himself. He mentioned it being scared at first because it was loud, it was smelly, there was a lot going on, I'm sure. But before he got in jail, he wasn't really afraid of it because he went to Scared Straight. He was part of that generation that went to the jail as a kid. However, he wasn't really that afraid when going, because in that jail, he had a family member in the jail. So in his mind, he's like, well, I got family here, and this is normal. I see them. I come to the jail and visit them. So for him to end up there, that wasn't, in his mind, wasn't a big issue. But it was when he got there. So because he was a bit unsure about what to do, but when his uncle and father, wrote him some letters about him just, minding his business and keeping on, not looking in people's cells, and just doing what he has to do, that kind of helped him. Even though he was young, he was like 16, so he got caught in situations, out of boredom, throwing water on people. So whoever you threw the water on is going to come up and see what's up. So they ended up getting into a fight, and he went back in that morning to fight this guy again. And that kind of helped with his reputation in a way. So he didn't really get messed with after that, but he did get beat up. So that kind of encouraged him to mind his business and not get caught up in stuff, because there was consequences for you messing with people. And through some of those things he went through, because he went through stuff, more so witnessing stuff in prison, like witnessing people getting stabbed. However, when he was out of prison before he went in, he saw people get shot. He shot at people. He stabbed people, and people stabbed him. So he's been in chaotic environments. However, since his family was into that stuff, to him it felt normal for him to be part of it. He wasn't necessarily fearless. He was still had fear going into the situation and at times didn't want to do things. But his environment, if he's in the type of environment where if you're not responding to people who are disrespecting you, then you're going to lose all your respect from the community. So he had to respond to the violence with violence. And he mentioned becoming older. He has anger, which is hard for him to get rid of. And even when somebody hawking the horn at him, he would want to go fight them. But it was like, he knew at a certain age, he knew he couldn't do that. And the situation didn't call for that. And then he has children, so now he tries to think about them and not be selfish because he did have kids while he was in jail for 10 years. So wanting to be there for them now and show up in their lives now helps keep him doing the right thing. But the main thing I think he struggles with is anger. And he might struggle with some other things, maybe paranoid, but he didn't really go over certain things. But maybe at a certain point he was desensitized and numb to a lot of things because of his childhood. So that could have been the thing as well. Our next person is going to be another African American male, but this person went through trauma with family. So having his mother be in and out of his life and not there for him or show up for him, that was hard on him to the point where he's calling his mother, but she never responds or never picks up, which affected his ability with attaching to people. So he'll attach to people real quick, or at times he'll disattach from people real quick due to his attachment issues with his mom growing up. And he also reported that his mom passed away from cancer, but she mentioned feeling bad about how she treated her son and other kids and other people, and being bad, and think that she deserved getting cancer, which caused an effect on her son to where he felt like he doesn't want people to feel bad. Even though he did things, his mother did things he didn't want her to do, but he still didn't want her to feel that anguish. So now it's hard for him to break up with people he needs to break up with because he doesn't want to hurt them, and he'll get caught up in a toxic cycle with them because he shouldn't be with them. And then let's say if he is able to break it off, he'll feel abandoned in a way and feel alone because he had to not be with them. So it's hard for him to be with people, and it's hard for him to not have that breakup happen because he struggles with that. And our last person is going to be a African American woman. She mentioned dealing with having a real hard time with due to men cheating on her and lying to her, which really hurt her trust in people. And now she goes out expecting the worst from people and in relationships. And some of these things it did come from her father not showing up as well. So her father didn't show up and didn't show her love, and made her anxious about other people showing up for her, to the point where she'll oftentimes before going out worry, overthinking about the first date, worried about being perfect, worried about not stuttering, worried about wearing the right outfit to feel worthy of a second or third date. And she's working on trying not to carry that rejection to the next person she talks to due to, the trauma you go through, through dating as well. So we went through trauma through like big traumatic assistance with them, and trauma through like dating, as well as, let's say, the parents traumatizing their kids to where these things are affecting their dating life currently. So these are just certain things to keep in mind. People who have been traumatized, these are why they're acting like this. There's a reason that somebody's acting a certain way. It comes from something. Hopefully that person will be honest with you, so at least you could be understanding, and you could give them a benefit of the doubt or give them some empathy. I can see how it'll be hard if they hide it from you. That'll make it a bit more challenging. But sometimes you got to give people time to where they feel comfortable to open up to you as well. So these are definitely just certain things to keep in mind. And, going forward, hopefully this will help. And this will conclude this episode. So we're going to go over Black-owned businesses. The next one is going to be the Vegan House, which I went to in Dallas, Texas. I'll be putting that in the description below. And of course, I'm a clinical social worker for the state of Maryland. I'll put that in the description for family, couples, and individual therapy. And the musician that does the intro and outro in my video, I'll put his stuff in the description. And the person who did my avatar, I'll put his stuff in the description as well. So yeah, definitely thanks for watching, man. Y'all have a good rest of the night and a good rest of the week.
To become a legend. What can we do to teach a lesson?